snare bass center, or snare center bass.
Snares come to the hash.
Band, change, hut, roll out.
The West Monroe rebels hold their final rehearsal.
I'm ecstatic. I'm like really excited and jumpy and really ready. I can barely sleep.
They're one of 10 high school bands chosen to play at the inauguration to mark the transition from Barack Obama to Donald Trump.
We don't see color, we don't see race, we don't see gender, we don't see ethnicity. We see potential. You know, I think there's been a lot of talk about how we need healing, and sometimes you just have to quit picking at it. Morgan Freeman one time was quoted as saying, you know, if you don't like racism, stop talking about it.
If there is anyone out there who still doubts that America is a place where all things are possible, tonight is your answer.
That was the era of Yes We Can, when Black America seemed poised to claim a confidence, a power, a parity long denied it.
Y'all haters corny with that Illuminati mess. Paparazzi catch my fly and my cocky fresh. I'm so reckless when I rock my Givenchy dress. I'm so possessive, so I rock his rock necklaces. My daddy Alabama, mama Louisiana.
But America was not ready.
To me, this is a race war. You know, you have the black against the white against the black.
I got hot sauce in my bag, swag.
From the swamps of Washington to the bayou of the South, beneath the surface of the post-racial society, fear, anger, and the deep roots of a history still unresolved.
Get him out of here! Get out! Get him out of here!
If they think that we're going to go back to the old days, they got something else coming, because we're not having that no more.
The final week of the Obama presidency began with the annual commemoration for a man who gave his life for the civil rights struggle. America has come a long way since then. In New Orleans, they marked Dr. King's memory with a show of sartorial pride.
Our self-esteem is grown from us knowing about each other, so that black males were able to see each other as a greater image than the images that are portrayed in media, music, like those negative images that we've always been told about.
In this respect, the Obamas' scandal-free tenure at the White House has had huge symbolic value.
So you think about a boy like, how old are you?
Hey.
7. Do you know who the president is?
Barack Obama.
Barack Obama. Do you know who the president was before him? So see, all he's ever known was Obama. So his life, like this is norm. It's the norm for him to see a black man as the head of the free nation.
Yeah. A symbol is a powerful thing. The very fact of Obama's unlikely presidency has expanded the concept of what is possible for millions of Americans, black and white. But when it comes to cold, hard statistics, the truth is that if you're black in America, the odds are still stacked against you. In 2013, the median net worth of a white American household was over $140,000. For black households, that figure was $11,000. That's 13 times less. Under Obama, the wealth gap has widened. Travel up the Mississippi from New Orleans and you come to Baton Rouge, one of the most divided cities in the United States. To some kids at inner-city high schools, the education they get on the streets can seem more important than what's on offer in the classroom.
And you could go out there tomorrow, have your pistol, shoot somebody, then you'll end up in prison for the rest of your life.
Arthur Silky Slim Reed is a former gang leader turned activist whose mission now is to stop young black men following his footsteps.
It's 2017 and you're still walking around looking and acting exactly like slaves. And the world is looking at you as animals. Why? Because you live a beast-like lifestyle.
Barack Obama often told black Americans they had to take responsibility for the problems in their own community. Silky agrees up to a point.
So black lives have to matter to black people first before it matters to the rest of the world.
But there are also inequalities that are systemic and ingrained. If you're black, you're more likely to be arrested, likely to get a longer jail sentence, and more likely to be shot dead by police. Obama only engaged with this issue late in his presidency and then with limited results.
Black quarterbacks on the team of white supremacy hasn't helped us. So the black judge can't help us if the law is the law. They have to abide by the law.
The same for a black president.
That's right, the same for the black president. Now, as far as black folks on the whole, politically, we didn't gain anything because at the end of the day, we didn't ask for anything. We didn't want to put that burden on the black man that was making it into the White House. We didn't want to put that burden on him. So if you don't ask for nothing and you don't get nothing, then you what? You can't be disappointed. So that's why there's no disappointment.
You're saying the black community gave Obama a free pass?
Yes, yes, definitely. I mean, that's why.
You thought he's one of us.
Yeah, he's one of us.
If you look at a demographic map of Baton Rouge, you'll see that this road here, Florida Street, is a stark dividing line. Everything to the north is overwhelmingly black. Everything to the south is mostly white. Now, I've spent time in divided cities. There have been places like Baghdad and Beirut, places where there's recently been a war. There hasn't been a war here since the 1860s, when the North fought the Confederacy over the issue of slavery. But last summer, it felt like war wasn't far off. The killing of Alton Sterling, the latest in a string of fatal police shootings caught on camera.
They're shooting right now, and there's an officer down.
2 days later, at a Black Lives Matter protest in Dallas, a black gunman opened fire on police, killing 5. Not long after that, more officers were shot dead in Baton Rouge.
To me, it's just, this is a race war. You know, you have the black against the white against the black. And I mean, it wouldn't be so many black people that are against white people, I think, if it wasn't for the police brutality.
Nefertiti Assata Shakur knew Alton Sterling. She's part of a growing movement of radical black activists. She says the tensions between the black community and the police have brought an old enemy back out into the open.
Last year, about 7 months ago, the Klansmen, the Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, they put flyers out recruiting members, and this was particularly right after Alton Sterling was killed. They had it on the news where they were putting notes on people's doors, going through the neighborhood.
Nefertiti and Silky Slim rang the number on the leaflet. It went through to a pre-recorded message, which had clearly been updated within the past few days.
Greetings, you have reached the loyal white knights of the Ku Klux Klan. Here soon, our beloved United States will be recognizing Martin Luther King. If you celebrate Martin Luther King Day, you are celebrating a communist pervert. If it ain't white, it ain't right. White power.
Hail Trump! Hail our people! Hail victory!
Not long after the election, a group of white nationalists gathered to discuss the new political landscape. The final speaker was Richard Spencer, who coined the term alt-right, a movement associated with Donald Trump's former campaign CEO, Steve Bannon, who wasn't present, but who is now one of the most powerful men in the White House.
America was, until this past generation, a white country, designed for ourselves and our posterity.
This, then, is the context in which Donald Trump takes office. Yes, America's new president has publicly disavowed support from overt racists. But still, the shadow of the plantations, the memory of Jim Crow, the legacy of America's original sin all seem to loom large over this new presidency.
I look at it that Master has reclaimed his house. So I know Master's place, you see what I'm saying? I know my place, I'm in the field, so I stay in the field. I don't try to get up to the house. And even though Master allowed one of the slaves to look over the house while he was on vacation, then we still back to the same fight that we've been in for the past 45.
Right. But I mean, in all seriousness, like, obviously there is a huge legacy of slavery, but you can't say that things haven't changed since the 1860s.
Oh, definitely.
Since the 1960s.
There's no forced free labor here with the slaves, right? And what America has been successful in doing is creating these slums and ghettos, putting you in these areas and then making the police still oversee you just like we're still on the plantation.
And so America begins a new chapter in its long book on race, weaving in the history of slavery, of segregation, with that of Martin Luther King and of the Obama era. Jalen, 11 years old, has known no other president. For many children, Trump was at first a frightening prospect.
We was all thinking about, like, what if he actually send us back to Africa? And
right, but that was your first thought, that you might not be allowed to be an American anymore.
Yes, sir.
That sounds like a scary thought.
Yeah. We all were like, at first we went through withdrawal and we was all saying, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. But we had talked about it one day at school and we was like, it can't happen unless everybody say yes to it.
Jalen is ambitious. After Harvard Law School, she wants to go on to become America's first black female president. But
what I think is that he's going to try and make everything harder for blacks to get into, everything harder for Hispanics to get into, everything harder for anybody of color to try and do or try and be something.
Jalen has one of those teachers you remember for the rest of your life. Someone who helps you make sense of a bewildering world.
I think that people were sick of talking about race. And
white people or black people or everyone?
I would say, well, from my experience, mostly white people. It's overwhelming. I can understand that from a perspective when you've never had to deal with it. You don't understand why we keep bringing it up over and over again. And I think that especially with the heightened sense of awareness of police shootings and police brutality and the injustices being so blatantly put in your face because of social media, white people started to have a backlash and they started to feel like nobody is representing me. Everyone just keeps talking about black people and it's not about me. And so how can I make it somewhat about me?
And so the age of Trump began, as all presidencies usually do, with a promise of inclusivity.
To rebuild our country and restore its promise for all of our people.
But Donald Trump's opponents fear quite the opposite. There are those who fear that the new president is a man with a vindictive streak, who may use the power of his office to lash out at those who oppose him.
Like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
Many liberals, especially white liberals, see Trump as an existential threat to the founding principles of America. But from the black perspective, things can look a little different.
He don't scare me. I don't really have an issue as far as with Trump and whatever he do, because I feel like all of them, they get in there and they do the same thing.
When black America contemplates the prospect of a hostile, perhaps even oppressive state, it shrugs and asks, what else is new?